Detroit.
It's right now about 5 minutes after the hour. Rev Holley here with you on this Saturday morning. I indicated to you earlier that the high today is going to be about 90 degrees. We got rain in the forecast and a little sort of like a thunderstorm around noon, 1 o'clock or so, but the sun should be coming out later on. It's not going to be a washout for the whole day. And then tomorrow, no rain in the forecast, about 96 degrees on tomorrow. 96 degrees, and then on Monday, 93 degrees on Monday. And once again, we say good morning to you, and we thank you so much. I'm going right back to the phones just a minute, but I just want you to know that that the Wayne County Community College District is having what they call the Detroit Urban Summit. Over 20 national renowned scholars, leaders will join Wayne County Community College District for this summit, and you don't want to miss it. I want to get this information to you. I'll come back, and just in case you don't have pencil and paper, later on the program and give this to you as well. But it will take place on Friday, June the 29th at MGM Hotel. It'll be the third summit, talking about Detroit Urban Summit. And you don't want to miss this. And this is the thing that many of you who really call on this program week after week and month after month and year after year, the much of what they'll be talking about, the things that you talk about, and you certainly want to participate and listen to what others are thinking and let them know what you're thinking as well. They're going to be focusing on the sort of like the disparity and disproportionately what affects urban America and basically and all the things that we talk about for the most part, what others get and what we don't get. One of the special treat is going to be Randall Robinson, who's going to be one of the special guests. And you know him, many of us know him and know him down through the years, but a brilliant mind, crisp, brilliant mind. And you certainly don't want to miss it. So I want you to know you can register at Detroit, called DetroitUrbanSummit.org, DetroitSummit.org. You can register. Or you can call Wayne County Community College next week, and they'll give you the information and certainly so that you want to be part of this. I'll bring this back to you in a few minutes, but you don't want to miss this Detroit Urban Summit. We're talking about 200 or 300 people that will be there, national known people, scholars, leaders from around the country. Will be there, and of course, again, it's one of the things that Wayne County Community College District that's always on top of their game when it comes down not only education but the things that matters to the urban Michigan and certainly Detroit, but also America as well. Caller, thank you for your patience. How are you this morning? Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, how are you?
Yeah, it was interesting when the chief mentioned about the superintendent up in Mackinac. And when the chief said that he really told him, and it implies that those people up there, and your remark is they might listen. Well, guess what? Those are the people who created the darkness in Detroit. Henry Ford and them and General Motors and them is up there, and the Department of Commerce was up there. And those people, when I look back in 1947 to 58, they built 25 factories in unimproved land that wasn't suburbs. They the ones created the suburbs.
Okay.
And when I looked at the Commerce Department, I looked at Hudson and J.L. Hudson and left and went to Southfield, Winkman, and all those people of the commerce stripped downtown. It destroyed downtown. There's no more downtown. And those are the people that he's talking to. Well, those are the people who did it to us.
Okay,
So
I got you. I
heard the chief and you say, they might listen. Speak truth to power. No, the civil rights movement was not speaking truth to the power. They hurt power and made power buckle to their demand. Like in Montgomery, they know that the bus company made $3,000 a day. on approximately, and they knew it was going to be millions of dollars, and they stayed out over a year and brought them to their knees. The same thing in '63. They went to demonstrating in Birmingham, and they went to hurt the profit.
Okay,
King
all right.
talked about the profit is the bottom line. We hurt the profit. That's a fight. That's
right.
not talking truth to power, because power done it. And I heard you and the chief imply that the ones who done it to us gonna help us. That's where we differ at.
All right, and I only really want you to call in once a week, or once a Saturday, and Tyrone, and I just can't you have all the time, and I got 14 lines here. You know, and for those who really feel like Tyrone is a genius and all like that, and I'm glad that you feel that way, and I'm glad for him to call in. The thing about it is that we can go to Mackinac and voice our opinion. We can go there and basically disrupt. We can go there, protest. We can go there and try to be constructive and let them know what they're doing is wrong and all that stuff. Several years ago, I tried to have a conference in downtown Detroit at Cobo Hall that would be counter what was going on at Mackinac, and couldn't get it off the ground. Couldn't get it off the ground. That's the reason why, Tyrone, when you talk to me, you're not talking to somebody that's a spectator. I participate. And I'm just saying to you is that we can sit there and complain about what they do on Mackinac, and they do make some decisions up there, just like they make decisions on the golf course. But I'm just saying to you is that we when it comes down, we're only about 10% or less of African Americans up there. And that's where they're making all these decisions about us. And I keep telling you guys, if you're not on the menu, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Let me say that again. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And understand that by that I mean that people are basically deciding what they want for you because you're not at the table. And then I try to have a Mackinac-style conference in downtown Detroit with African Americans, like Dr. where Mayor Coleman Young did when in Indiana when they had their own convention in Gary, Indiana, because the Democrats were ignoring the African Americans, so they had their own convention there in Gary. And so I was trying to have that kind of like a Mackinac conference. What's best for us in the city of Detroit? What's best for us? You know, and of course, then you got this urban summit that's going on with Wayne County Community College District on the June the 29th is a good way of trying to kind of act what they did up there and what's best for us what's best for us. And so I'm just saying to you is we can complain about what white folks are doing and all that, and they're gonna, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, and we got to understand that. And many of us are not at the table. We're not at the table. And then because we don't, my grandmother, I didn't like a lot of times what she would have for dinner, but she had only what she gave us, only what she had. But I didn't like it all the time. But if I didn't, even though I didn't like it, I had to eat it because I was at the table, you know. And she picked the menu, but I was at the table. And the point is, my sister and brother, is that we got to understand. We can sit here day in and day out and complain and complain and complain. Here you are, you're talking about $148 million in federal dollars coming to Detroit and for demolition, and only 26% of it's gone to minorities. You know, we are 79% of the city is black population, and basically and so I'm just saying to you is that we're not getting that, and so we should be complaining, and we should just stop it. If you're not going to give it to us, then let's stop it. Just stop it. Enough is enough. You know, you got this guy building, got 160 million in credits, and you just gonna pay a fine and won't really help us to get jobs and train them while they're on the job. People ain't got wait for 7 years to eat. They can't wait 7 years to eat for a apprentice program. They need something right now. And we can find some way of training people while they're on the job if they're really serious about working. But I'm just saying to you is that you got almost $150 million coming to Detroit, and only 26% of the people, 20% getting the work. And so then all the construction people, instead of going at each other and basically trying to hurt each other, come together and just say, look, we're just going to stop this. Enough is enough. And I'm just saying to you is we can complain or we can basically be proactive. And this is what we got to do. The handwriting is on the wall. We got to make sure our schools get better. And our young people stay in school. A poor education is better than no education at all. We got to do something until we get it right. Until we get it right. We can't have kids graduating out of high school, can't read and can't count and can't comprehend. We can't have kids dropping out of school, and this is a pipeline to prison. And when they're in prison, they learn nothing. You're in prison for 17, 18, and 20 years, and you still don't have a GED when you come out? Have no training, no skill? I'm serving time. I'm not making time serve me. I'm just telling you, my sister, but this is, somewhere down the line, man, this is, we got to call you in touch. Hurry this morning.
And good morning.
Yes.
How are you?
Yes.
A couple of things. For a long time, you have talked about the importance of education and the importance of training. And I think you've been on target every step of the way because in the black community, the Hispanic community, the Native American community, all of us are quite clear that education is a way out of poverty. And there are two types. You can go vocational or you can go academic. And so we have this, it's not a hidden gem, we have this outstanding opportunity, this vehicle called Wayne County Community College that caters to the needs of what the new skills are required. So I remember when Dr. Ivory put in a special course of training to get people prepared to be conductors on the queue line. And everybody or anybody that took those classes, these folks were able to be engineers, repair people, conductors on the queue line, and they could go any other place outside of the city of Detroit, across the nation, and be prepared to work at railroad jobs. And it's a couple of things, Reverend. I believe that part of the problem with folks in Detroit, Hamtramck and Highland Park, is we have these naysayers, this criticism that's just endless. This is not right. This is not right. That is not right. But the folks that have that ongoing criticism very rarely have something positive to say, why don't we go and try this? There's no question. At my school, Detroit Community, we just graduated a class of over 75 young people, little boys and little girls. That's what I call them, because I've known them for 7 and 8 years. And every one of them, we have a counseling team that absolutely demands that every student that reaches the 12th grade, you have to apply for college entry or vocational school entry, some kind of training. And every kid, we've got children that have been accepted at 20 colleges you know? So the opportunity to leave high school and go into entrepreneur opportunities, teaching opportunities. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a talk show host, whatever it is, a designer. All of those things are encouraged. And what happens is once they get out of high school, they start listening to things that say, oh, this can't work. Oh, that can't work. No, no. There are a lot of problems. There are challenges. Racism is always there, but as low-income or moderate-income students, there are going to be a series of challenges that really need to be addressed by folks in the community like you and me. I make certain that, and I know you have, and a lot of people that call into these radio stations, we should always make certain that we tell our children, don't start smoking weed because somebody says it's legal. That's a trick. Later on, when they take a piece of your hair and test it, you won't be able to get that employment opportunity. And folks that may be hiring are going to share that information. Don't use drugs. Don't drink and drive. Do all of those kinds of comments and make it clear to our young people and those that are not young. Live a lifestyle of service. Live a life of preparation and strengthening for your community. That's where the benefits are. I should be working for the next group behind me and the next group behind that group. And my job as a human being is to grab a hold of those folks and pull them forward. So don't be discouraged, Reverend Holley.
Right.
You know, everybody's not going to agree with everything that you say or everything that I say, but there's no question. The lack of commitment and support from our community is a great deal of the problem. We don't think that graduations are important. In my neighborhood over here on Littlefield, we got signs in front of people's houses that say, my granddaughter graduated from wherever. And they put the signs out in front of the house. And that's because it's a sense of pride. And we should live that way and find a way to be proud of our young people. Should support them. We should move them forward. Take $5 or $10 out of your pocket every now and then and stick it in their pocket and encourage them to service our community. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, and I appreciate it very much.
All right.
Thank you so much. Caller, you've been very patient. How are you?
Oh, good morning. How are you?
Just fine, thank you.
That's good. I first like to say you cannot let the wolf in the hen house and then complain about the carnage. And this is in regards to the demolition contracts. First of all, we know the current mayor's, well, we should know his modus operandi from previous institutions that he was at, i.e. DPS, DMC, and now the city of Detroit. They did an expose on the current mayor with the outside contractors, and for lack of a better word, bid rigging, collusion. They set the prices for the contracts, and the very people that set the prices got the contracts. None of them were African Americans. None of them were city of Detroit residents. So how in the world can people who voted for this mayor, who has control of who gets the contract, complain about no diversity? I'm mind-boggled. I don't understand it. We see what he does. He gets the bag, as the kids say, and he disperses it to his cronies and supporters. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
And I appreciate it very much. I must admit, I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed, and I hear what you're saying, and I know that. I feel there's a lot of things that's good that's been done, but I'm very disappointed with this. I am very disappointed. Caller, thank you for your patience. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm fantastic, and happy Saturday, and happy
Father's Day Eve.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to be the amen corner for what previous two callers had to say. And also, we need to think about the kinds of things that we can do collectively and as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as collectives are concerned, when you have the protest and the rally, we need to participate in those and encourage others to participate. Individually, Reverend Tony, we have heard for years that these single cigarettes are being sold out of the stores, gas stations. Well, as individuals, when we see that being done, we can call the ATF, and for alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, Department of the Federal Government. And that number is a 313 number. It's 202-3640. That's 202-3640. When you see someone asking to purchase a single cigarette, which they call Lucy, the clerk behind the counter opens a pack which is sealed. It's sealed for a reason. That's to keep the cigarettes inside that you're going to put in your mouth clean. You don't know whether the clerk who is working there all day is going to the toilet and wash his or her hands. Therefore, you may have nasty hands touching the cigarette. Then the cigarette is laid on the counter, which is nasty, and the money that is laid on this same counter is nasty. Hepatitis A is at epidemic levels, so you don't know whether you're catching hepatitis from the cigarettes or the other methods that have been mentioned through the media.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see someone purchasing a single cigarette, then you need to report that. It needs to be stopped. So that was one of the single things that people can do.
Thank you, Theo.
To help the community.
Hey, thank you, Theo. Thank you very much. Call you next. How are you this morning? How are you? Yes.
Good morning. Listen, Reverend Holley, you was here 40 years ago. All the other poverty attempts to get on here talking, they were here 40 years ago. So why are you blaming the poor people for what has happened in this city? You all were the ones who framed the city. You all been here. Don't talk about Dudley. Dudley was friends with you all 40 years ago. You all allowed these schools to fall into denial and neglect. Weed is an industry. Israel is using weed as an industry to give jobs to our people. You need to get somebody on here about income inequality. Many of us, we got student debt. We got master's degrees. We can't make ends meet. We go to check and go. We got a master's degree and have to go to check and go to make ends meet in our household. So these poverty pimps that's been in Detroit for the past 40 years, you're the reason why Detroit went broke. You're educators. Why didn't you allow your schools to fall into denial and neglect if you got so much knowledge?
All right. I just, anyway, I appreciate the call. I just want to make sure that we don't, we just understand we got to talk not at each other, but with each other. And I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. I'm not quite sure that all that you've said is. It's some blame to go around for everybody in terms of how we got to where we are. It's some blame for all of us. And again, we just, I like what I would like to do because I got more years behind me than I got in front of me. I just like to concentrate on the future and not so much of what we have, what got us to this point. I understand, I think many of us know what got us to this point. And it's enough blame for everybody. But I do feel like that at some point, like I go to some of these meetings and they talk about, they give you a perspective of the history and but I want to spend my time on where do we go from here? What do we do? How do we get our school system to where it needs to be? How can we get our economic situation here in the city of Detroit for businesses and construction and everyone else? How do we move forward? And knowing that all this stuff is going on in the city of Detroit, and we want Detroiters to participate in it. Detroit is moving, but Detroit is not moving with Detroit. And somehow, some kind of way, we got to make sure that we all on the same, at least in the same, if not on the same page, you ought to be in the same book. So I'm just saying to you is that we need to try to spend some time of how we're going to move forward. And we got 2 bridges coming. What are we going to do to make sure? You got Mr. Gilbert building the buildings downtown. He's going to build the Wayne County jail and all this. So it's a lot of work to be done. We just got to make sure that we include it in it. And if they don't let us be included in it, then we have to cut it out. Find a way to cut it out. You know, these federal jobs, money is a portion of that it goes to Detroiters and minority businesses. And we got to make sure that indeed that the city council, the mayor, everybody is basically hold accountable with this. And this is a time that we got to just be vigilant and try to make sure that we respect each other and knowing that we're all going to be doing what we feel like is the right thing to do in order to help our young people, particularly, and businesses in general, to get this business and participate in what's going on here. I mean, I hear you loud and clear, sweet lady. I hear you loud and clear, and I'm very embarrassed by this. I'm very embarrassed by this because I am a supporter of the mayor. I'm very embarrassed by this. You got $150 million in federal dollars coming to the city of Detroit for demolition, and only 26% of it is going to minorities, according to the Free Press. I'm very embarrassed by this. Very embarrassed because I've been working. At one time, I was working with procurement and trying to make sure that I could get the African American business slide. So whatever you needed, I know we got it. I remember that one of the ladies needs about 6 or 7 seamsters, and to get a contract, about a $3 million contract for uniforms, and she couldn't find them. And I said, well, look, we're going to the one of the things about Haiti and the things about the Caribbean, they got a lot of people that really know how to sew. But some of those people are right here in the neighborhood. They're in Detroit. They're in Wayne County. They're in Detroit. They're here. That's fine. And we found them so that she wouldn't lose this contract. And the point is, we got to be proactive. We got to do something to make sure that we put things, fill up these holes as we go through this prosperity piece that we're facing, that we're having right here in the city of Detroit. Caller, thank you for your patience. How are you this morning?
Fine, Rev Holley.
Yes.
I got to speak on part of the solution, Rev Holley.
Okay.
They are doing the fake out, the overlay to the people in the state of Michigan and Detroit. They're saying they're going to do this, but they are not actually doing it because do not have the follow-up plug that is plugging us into the thing. Okay, they say a lot of word rhetoric that can't be confirmed because they are not giving us a chance. Okay, they act like you got a seat at the table. Soon as we get to the table, we're looked over because of race. All right, when we don't have the opportunity to be able to perform, it's because they say now we don't have experience. We don't have enough money. They find in every kind of way to shut us. We need clubs that are able to give us a main floor. In other words, we have the attention of somebody by giving the opportunity. They're not giving us the opportunity, and it's a fake out and an overlay. The agenda is real, but it's not for us because we don't have the background. They won't give us a chance to get the background because just how it was in the 70s and 80s with the skilled trade. They made us look like we were the black widow spiders, not to be messed with. This is still the attitude. We need the flood of some people that are going to be fruitful enough that to give us opportunity. We need forward because if we have major companies throwing these things, they control the agenda, which we can't get the right questions asked because they are controlling the agenda. Another way of taking out the public. We get the training, but then they say we don't have the experience. Then they look over somebody that's more experienced. We are in a nowhere situation because we have got to do for ourselves.
Okay.
Because they're not going to help.
Gotcha, my friend. Thank you for the call. Caller, you in touch her this morning? Yes, how are you?
Right. Well, I'd like to go to the sister. The sister said 40 years ago, she said, y'all, and you was like, well, there's a blame to go around. And I hear that from who are being held accountable that there's enough blame to go around when that blame is being directly on them, though. And I think that it's good to bad. I think the mayor has told you a story that he was going to help us and no support. And my question to you as a referee, when you going to see they keep playing you like a sucker? When you going to realize that you're not even taking a step for this community to even bring something to them? They don't take Reverend Holley serious. As much as they know that this community like Reverend Holley, you would think that they would come through in good fashion for Reverend Holley. But even the white structure that Reverend Holley don't take Reverend Holley serious enough to deliver for Reverend Holley's people so Reverend Holley can continue to look effective. What's good as a preacher, you can't give nothing to nobody. Your effectiveness is in your communication and that you can make things happen. Like you want to marry that you looking like a queen. All these people calling and about something that you try to help make sure we got there, and then the mayor gains you over.
Got your point. I got your point. You may be right about that. Caller, you in touch. Hurry this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Caller, you.
Reverend Holley?
Yes, how are you?
I'm fine, and yourself?
Okay.
I just like to say that I think you are doing a very good job of bringing positive messages to the people of the city of Detroit. I think we all have to tap into the positive and leave the negative where it should be, because we all have a lot of blame. We have to get in our neighborhoods. We got to get in our communities. We got to gather up the young people and give them the positive education, trade, jobs, all kind of positive things that we need to move towards too.
Right.
And the negative need to be left behind. We ain't got no time for that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Reverend Holley, for all the positive things that you bring.
Right.
Okay, I love you for that.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate the support. I really do. Thank you. Caller, you in touch. Hurry this morning.
Good morning, Reverend Holley.
Yes, how are you?
I agree with the last caller, and I agree with many of your callers. There's enough blame, enough shame to go around for all of us. We all must play a part in executing the solutions. We got too many solutions and no execution. So we need to work on the solutions to access the positive and weed out the negative. Black, white, it doesn't matter the color. They're all wrapped up into the same cloth of corruption. And those who want to make a difference and want to make it better, we just have to work together to make it better. And like I said, we need out the negative and access to positive. And thank you for all that you do and you try to do.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it very much. Caller, thank you for your patience. Hurry this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Reverend Holley. How are you?
Just fine. Thank you. How are you?
It was good seeing you the other night, too. Over at the police commissioners meeting over at Adams.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I agree about this, what is the line in the song says, you got to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. But, you know, you're going to always have negative people.
Mm-hmm.
I said if they took a blanket of bliss and put it over the city, you know what their complaint would be? I'm mad as hell because it ain't nothing to complain about. But now, to this point, you know, you mentioned education in your talk. Have you seen a Common Core, how they solve problems now? I mean, in terms of 5 plus 3. Now, we learned 5 sticks plus 3 sticks equal 8, right? You know, this thing with Common Core, it's just totally ridiculous.
Mm.
You get the same answer, but they take you through a whole bunch of stuff that has totally, to me, it's obtuse.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't have anything to do with it. And I think somebody with that Common Core, they've got paid and they made math that much more difficult.
Mm.
Because you know how, I mean, it was basically simple. 5 plus 3 equals 8.
Okay.
But, you know, they got a whole bunch of things. It's almost like, if you remember the movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still with Michael Rennie, when he went in there to Sam Jaffe's office, and he had that great big old mathematical equation on that board, that's literally almost how Common Core is.
Mm.
And, you know, when you talk about parents becoming involved in teachers, you know, and in the children's education, in terms of what we learn, and you bring Common Core to me, what Marlon Gates say, make you want to holler, throw up both hands. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's real crazy. But if you get a chance, Google it, Common Core math, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Right. Hey, thank you, my friend. Thank you for the call. They changed my medicine a little bit, and I need to just take a break here. I just need to get a little water. And so let me just take a break, and I'll be right back. We've got 15 more minutes to go. I want to make sure I get something in and get your calls in as well. So just give me just a short break if you could, please. Thank you.
I will say a little prayer for you, and I will always care for you. Hello, Detroit.
You're watching W33BY, Detroit, Highland Park, Michigan.
The book of Matthew says, "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit."
Today, we're offering you a holy trinity of items with your generous donation of $39 or more. The spiritually enlightening book, A Prayer Covering Over Your Family, for teaching how to raise up a spiritual shield through prayer and protect loved ones with God's grace. A prayer cloth of holy scriptures for surrounding your loved ones with the Lord's powerful words. Plus, an exquisite bottle of holy anointing oil for rebuking evil and sickness among you. Dial 313-872-LOVE. That's 313-872-LOVE, or visit historiclittlerockbc.org now for this limited time offer with your gift or donation of $39 or more.
Throughout the Word of God, we see its importance to anoint, experience healing, deliverance, and fellowship with our Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit with your generous gift of support.
I've always been interested in driving. When I was in the service, I drove a stick shift truck. After being retired, I got tired of sitting around. It's time for me to get back maneuvering something on the road. I'm back in school again, and I seen the sign out there, said truck CDL. I'm in school trying to get me an associate degree. One reason I quit school years ago, I'm a slow learner. But once I learn things, I can pick it up, but I can pick more so up on hands-on. The technology is different for me. It's a difference between driving a straight back truck or a stick shift car. And the semi-truck amazes me. This is a program that advances knowledge. I'm determined to get an education. Get you a skill, and a train to live life.
And once again, thank you so much, and thank you for your patience with me here this morning. We've got about 15 more minutes, maybe about 12 or more minutes to get ready for the next program. And once again, I thank you so much. I'm going to go back to the phone. So let me just, I was at a cemetery. I think it was Green Lawn, I think it is. And so I was just talking to the director there, one of the counselors there. Since January, I'm just talking about this age room. Since January, there have been 40 graves, graveside. There have been 40 deaths under 25 at this particular grave at this particular cemetery. Just between January and I think this is like about three or 4 weeks ago, up until January, until about 45 kids have been killed under the age of 25. There was one lady that basically her son was killed, and they were picking out a tombstone to a marker to put on her son's grave. Her other son basically had come home to be with her and the family because it's his brother. And so he was there with her. 2 weeks later, he was killed. This mother lost 2 sons in 3 weeks. 2 sons in 3 weeks. Listen to me. And maybe you know others. 25 years and under, 40 kids. There were maybe about 13 to 1,400 kids at the grave site. We were afraid that you never know what's going to happen when you get 1,300 teenagers. They were rowdy, but they weren't rowdy. But the point is they were very upset. Obviously, the boy was very popular. And the father said to the son, son, whatever you do, you're coming home for school, but your friends, you can't run with the people that you used to run. You're now in college, you're trying to make something out of yourself. And of course, the street drew him back out there, and he ended up getting killed. This is one cemetery now. There's something like 37 cemeteries in the area. And so this is one cemetery that had, between January the 1st and to 3 or 4 weeks ago, 45 kids under the age of 25. These kids are not making the papers. They're not making the television. And that's and so if you owe me about my passion and if you owe me about what I do and what I don't do and all this kind of, I'm just saying to you, understand what's going on. What's going on? And we'll basically, my sisters and brothers, at the end of January 2017, we basically we'll say how sad it is that all these kids got killed in 2017, and then January 1 we start all over again like it doesn't matter. We start all over again like it just doesn't matter. And we're the only people that basically, and I said it, we're the only people that basically just go on and just and ignore this kind of death. You know, Chicago, 600 in 1 year, 7,000 in 7 years, 7,000. That's more than a war. And we go on and on like it don't mean nothing. The education for our children, it should mean something. Death on our children should mean something. Underprivileged should mean something. Contractors should mean something. All of us ought to mean something. From the pulpit back to the door. And I'm just saying to you, my sisters and brothers, I don't come here just to be bringing bad news and don't kill the messenger. You know, I'm just the messenger. You know, and am I perfect? No, I'm not perfect. Do I make mistakes? Absolutely, I do. You know, I'm just saying to you is that, but even with all of that, we somehow, some kind of way, we got to get this thing together, or else we'll be no more. We really will be no more. So let me just call it. Thank you for your patience. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Rev.
Yes.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to briefly say something about Common Core mathematics. I just want to say to the brother, it's not the method that Common Core that is the problem. I mean, the actual Common Core method modeled after China and a couple of the other Middle Eastern countries. It's just that you have teachers are not equipped to properly teach the Common Core methodology of mathematics. See, it takes the approach of allowing the student to reason to the answer to himself rather than using the rote method of 5 plus 5 equals 10. He doesn't reason to that. It's more of a reason skill, trying to get to the mental processes of the thinker as opposed to telling him.
Okay.
So that's the difference. Now, regarding the thing that's been happening in Detroit all these decades, how can you talk about minority contracts when you are the majority? That tells you that something's wrong with your thinking. Not with you, but and I'm saying you in the general.
I understand.
Something is wrong with your thinking.
Yeah.
You've got to throw it out. Reverend Holley, you go all over this country and find black people in mass, you will see the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It is not them.
Yes, us.
It is our thinking.
Yeah.
It is not what they're doing. It is what we are thinking.
Gotcha.
Now, one quick thing before you hang up on me. In Dallas, Texas, Reverend Holley, I'm amazed. I do business there now. There is a community where it was a slave community at one time called Roseland, and it's a huge housing project, beautiful, and there's a slave graveyard and lots of things. Black people live there in this area I'm talking about. Now, the whites want to take it. And a man was talking to me the other day about it. I said, man, it started happening in my own city. Let me tell you what's happening here. Because the whites are building high-priced apartment complexes around it because it's right near downtown, going through the downtown thoroughfare.
Right. Quickly.
I said, I started in my own city. Let me tell you what's happening. While you Negroes dancing and churching and complaining, they're building. And since you done got some laws to protect you and got the wolf is the one, he's the one administering the law, they're not going to do it by direct taking it. They're going to price you out. And that's why they're building all these high-rise apartments and luxury things around it. And while you complaining, instead of taking care of your community, you complaining about them. Stop, get the mind off of them and examine your own thinking. You will discover you got more power than you thought.
Yeah, thank you, my
now,
friend.
I'm out now, Reverend Holley.
Thank you, my friend. I thank you for that. My time is running out. I just want to remind you that the Wayne County Community College District is having a summit, a Detroit Urban Summit. You don't want to miss this. It's going to be Friday the 29th. Again, it's going to focus on disparities that really affect urban America. It's going to talk about a lot of issues that you've been talking down through the years. The most important thing is that Randall Robinson is going to be one of the special guests. A brilliant mind, mind. But I'm just grateful that Wayne County Community College District is having this summit, urban summit. over 20 national renowned scholars and leaders that will be and join Wayne County Community College District at this summit. This will be June the 29th at MGM, at the hotel there at MGM. It's the third one they've had. And my sister brothers, again, you can register at the DetroitUrbanSummit.org, DetroitUrbanSummit.org. And Monday, if you don't get it, just call down to Wayne County Community College, and they'll be able to give you all that information. But this is the third one they've had, and I'm asking that you want to join this and be part of this, because some of the most great thinkers from around the country is being brought in to really talk about and work on a policy plan for urban America. You don't want to miss this. I thank you so much. You're always nice to me, and for that I'm grateful. You made this program very popular, and for that I'm grateful. And I want you to know that. And so if I've done anything to hurt anyone's feelings, forgive me. I just want you to know I am what I am, and I just care about everybody, but I'm pro-black. I'm not anti-anybody. I just want you to understand, my sisters and brothers, that I just want to make sure somewhere in my lifetime that we get this thing right. Thank you so much for being with us. The Lord says the same. We'll be with you a week from today. Thank you very much.